Oh my days. What? Yeah, that's proper bodge, man. That's fiberglass, dude. How you doing? It's Neil from DB. If you watch through to the end on this build, basically you're going to see it in basically a full colour, which would be primer. I'm sorry I haven't done an update for a while on this car because it went off to another garage to get some work fixed. So yeah, you're going to get a lot of information and bits and bobs and tips if you're building a Civic or any other car. So yeah, watch through to the end and you'll see it come together. Oh my days. What? All right, I'm all about, I know there's not a right way and wrong way about doing things, but that's shocking, man. Jesus. Yeah, that's proper bodge, man. That's fiberglass, dude. Guys, I know there's no right way or wrong way of doing things, but have a bit more pride in your work, man. For fuck's sake. I think that's fiberglass. Yeah, that's shit. There's like 4 different sealers and I didn't know what that is. Shit. I wasn't expecting it to be this bad, but yeah, that's the fuel neck. Oh, yeah, you're gonna have to try and get new inner panel. Yeah, so someone's welded a patch on here as well. They've welded it over the top, so it's got a massive jump. Stupid doing that because you've got to put loads of filler in to try and accommodate for the step. What we're going to do is weld the outer panels on, and then it's going to another body shop. The people that, I don't want to say it, but done some work on it before, they said to do the inner tub for us, so that's cool. We're going to do all the inner tub. We're just going to put the outer panel on it, and then it's coming back after it's been all cleaned underneath, and we're going to paint it then. I don't normally take the piss out of people's work, but this is pretty bad. I mean, you don't weld panels inside of other panels because what happens is you get moisture trapped behind. And what someone's done is they've welded quarter panels over the top of other quarter panels. Sort it out, guys. How can people get away with it? Yeah, don't get me wrong, I see people do this to people's cars, well, to cars if they're selling them to make a quick buck, but this is actually done for someone's pride and joy. This is what, the kid that owns this is his pride and joy. Used to be his granddad's car, which you've seen from previous videos. But I don't know what the deal was here, whether he didn't want to pay a lot before or something to get something done. I don't know the deal. But even if you're not charging a lot, you just don't do this. You just refuse to do the job. Yeah, good. So what happened is we went to put some new arches in this car. It's come in for a full bare metal respray. A previous garage done some work on this a long time ago because Richie's owned this car for a very long time. It used to be his granddad's car and it's been passed down. I don't know the story too much, but I'll find out. As a sorry, they've welded the engine bay up and smoothed it, but we've come into a lot of issues already because I don't like to touch people's bodywork. As a body shop, or painter or panel beater, you know you don't want to be touching someone else's work because you don't know the process they've done or the materials they've used.
what's happened is the companies they're probably really good at what they do. If you're doing like normal cars like BMWs or new cars and stuff, it's pretty easy. Not easy, but you're doing a different process. But when you do restoration work or anything like that, it has to be done right in the right procedures, because they've welded it up and fillered it, but they've put so much primer on it, it's started to lift in the edges. So we're not going to have time to strip this all back. So I'm going to look over the worst areas, fix it for Richie, but we can't take responsibility if anything starts to lift in future unless we bare metal again. But I'll tell you what, there's probably a good solid week in this engine bay alone. So if we can fix the edges, get it into primer today, and then hopefully over time it'll be okay. It's just, we've had to clean the strut tops back off because it's already starting to crack before you've even touched it. And once it starts flexing on the road, it's going to crack straight away. So guys, wish me luck. We're going to strip it back in the places, in the worst areas, and try and sort it out for him as best as possible. All right, so I'm already a bit peed off because the issue that was supposed to be fixed, they've not done a good job. I'm not slagging anyone off or anything, but it really annoys me when you touch someone else's work and they've done such a bad job. So that was supposed to be a thank you, like a sorry, and I've got to now fix that. And the bit where they're supposed to have tubbed it, it's bad. What they've done is they've underlapped the weld, and they've actually left the rust there as well. So there's not going to be much we can do with that unless we cut all of it out again, which we'll have to charge the customer for. And it's just a bit of a shame because I'm trying to sort this car out for the customer. So he's got a nice car. So I'll show you what I'm on about. All right, so from previous videos, you would have probably seen I've welded the outer quarter panel on. But what's happened is it was supposed to have the inside arches sort of like tubbed. But if you look inside, you can see they've just welded a new panel on, and it is now overlapped over that rusty panel. So there's not a lot I can do with that unless I try to trim a bit off of it, which I'm going to do anyway. The problem is when you do this is you get rust in between the panels and then it just rots out. So they've raptured the whole underneath of the car. I found another issue as well. See this piece here? They're supposed to have welded it, but how can the bumper fit over that if it's protruding the wheel already? So already I know that bumper is going to be touching that panel. Oh, it pisses me off, man, bodywork, because yeah, it has to be perfect. And look at it, like that bit sticking out. And I told them not to weld the panel to the outer quarter panel, obviously just tack it, but they've done such a bad job. They've put fiberglass over top of, I don't know what they've done here. They've put fiberglass over the top of it to hide the imperfections, and now I'm gonna have to take it all back off and reshape it all. And yeah, I don't know. They're supposed to have fixed this, and it's just, that's still the same because that was all rotten, so I guarantee there's probably rust underneath it, but be all right. But this is gonna have to be cut off because obviously watch the bumper. I'll get a video of it now. All right, so let's get the bumper on, have a laugh and see if this is even gonna fit on there. What a joke. No, look at that, guys. It's touching the inner panel. That is shocking, man. I can't believe that. So that is solid, guys. It's right against the bumper and it's sticking out. I don't know. That's gonna be a lot of work just to do that. I might just trim it off, speak to customer Richie, trim it down, and then reseal the edge just to sort of save him some money. Yeah, I don't want to sound like a mooning, just you got to understand, like obviously with bodywork and stuff like that, there's a very fine line of it being good and crap. If you look over here, all this, I can imagine in time it would probably just crack. So we've just had to fix these edges out a little bit. I've had to feather it right back because it was all bubbling. And obviously this being bare metal now, at least I can just primer over it, seal in the gap. Leave the original spot weld to give it a bit of, well, just leave it, because obviously if you put the strut cross member on it, it's just going to crack anyway. Because all this otherwise needs to be welded up. This needs to be welded and smooth, so then it's not got any filler on the top of it. All right, so just took off, like, it's just all flaking off here. So the problem is you won't really see it now, but once you paint it, it's going to stand out really bad. So you're only going to see in the main areas like the strut tops, probably this area here and a little bit around here. So what I'll do is sand these down. We're going to reprime it anyway, but I'm just concerned. This is the problem, like you get all this and it starts flaking off. If I spray over it, it's great. It looks shiny for a bit and then it'll flake off again. As we've already spoken to the customer, we don't want to be taking it all back off because it's going to take a long time. So let's stop moaning, crack on, and let's get this prepped, primed again, and then, right, it's just a lesson learned. Obviously, I'm not touching anyone else's work ever again, but I'm just trying to help out a mate here. So, yeah, it is what it is. Look. All right, that came out pretty sick actually, to be fair. On to the next thing. There's obviously a couple of little pinholes I've just touched in, or anything that was missed. So that can be left now until the body's into epoxy and into primer. I won't be touching the engine bay. So that can sit now, drop back or anything it's got to do. So I'm just basically doing the bare metal process at the moment. So we're taking this all back. The only thing is there's so many bad dents in the quarter panels. What my plan of action is to epoxy prime the whole shell. And then what I can do is get a PDR done by my friend. And then what we'll do is once it's PDR, because obviously when you're tapping in, hitting it and stuff, it could crack the primer off the panel. So what we'll do is get a PDR. It'd be better with the primer on because we can see what we're doing. And then what we can do is, I'll re-prep the areas anyway, and then I can do my repairs on top of the epoxy primer. It's the best way to do it. It's the best way I've tried, and it's the best way for protection as well. Because as soon as it's bare metaled, we go back over it again just in case there isn't any surface rust, but I'd rather just make sure it's spot on, then we can put the epoxy on. The shell's mainly ready now for the epoxy. It's just want to finish. I can't get the sunroof open. So guys, if you ever get stuck and you can't open your sunroof on your Civic because you've got all the wires off, basically take the headliner out and then there's an Allen key right in the middle. You can wind the motor back and it'll drop down. So that was a pretty good find. I was trying to search online, couldn't find anything. I tried to put a power probe as well into the sunroof and it just wouldn't work. So yeah, it's a good little hack. So let's crack on and get this done. Yeah, there is some good news as well. The roof's got no filler work in it, so no one's done any repairs on it and it's really straight. But I got to show you some flipping now. I got to show you some bodges as well. I don't know how people get away with it. I charge quite a bit of money to do this, obviously by the hour, depending on what the job is or anything. And yeah, the bodges someone's done on it, I didn't know how you could charge for it. Shocking. Yeah, check this out. I thought this would have been done properly, but what they've done is smash the panel in and they've bonded this bit of metal in instead of welding it properly. So now what I've got to do is bare metal this area, try and get this plate off, and then I've got to pin pull it and then weld a new bit in there. And yeah, it's just another bit to add to the job. And you can see the filler's not too thick, but it's just, obviously it doesn't need to be, that's just a bodge, you know what I mean? All right, so that panel's bare metal so far. What I'm going to do is, if you can see, the panel's, I can't really tell obviously from camera, but it's really warped. And one of the hardest repairs I've done on these EK Civics or EJs or EK9s, whatever, is this line. Because the thing is, it's basically got like 3 steps. It's got the one that kicks in, it's got the flat edge, and then you got the line. So it's two, whatever you want to say. But if you look at it, obviously you've got your flat edge, the curve, and then you got a flat edge again, then a curve. But the thing is, when it comes down to here, it starts getting smaller. Lucky enough, this is like a consistent line all the way along. So that's going to be a lot of work. I've got to roll the arches as well. Another big problem we got is someone's put a back panel on this car before. So when you put the boot on, there's a massive gap on one side and not the other. So really, what I would like to do is take the back panel off and start fresh, but that's not going to be happening. I want to try and help Richie save some money, man, because he spent a lot of money on this car and we just want to get it back on the road, make it look sick, and he can enjoy it. But yeah, this side's coming out well. I'm just going to finish it all off in 180 now. So once it's all finished in 180, we'll get the epoxy on. And yeah, boy, I want to put all the panels on as well. All right, so everything's bare metaled now. What I'm going to do is get it all ready. I'm going to get it in the booth, get the epoxy on it so I can let that sit. And then we're going to put all the panels on so I can actually see the car complete. Because otherwise your brain's going to go around in circles. You're going to be trying to chase yourself. So if I can get all the panels together, and then I can sort of sort the whole shape as a whole, and then we can go from there. At least it looked like it's something all together, and it'll be pretty sick. All right, let's crack on. All right, so on to the next step, guys. So I've got all my panels laid out. I've just epoxied it. So basically the reason you epoxy primer the bare metal is just to sort of stop it rusting. It's got basically anti-corrosion properties in it as well, and it obviously bites to the metal really good. Usually if you're just doing one panel, you can do all your metal work straight away and then you can epoxy it afterwards, but because I'm working on the whole car, I want to dry fit everything, get all the panels on, check all the gaps, and then I can go around and repair everything. Because otherwise, if you repair everything individually, what will happen is you put it on, it won't line up. So all right, let's get it built up and get on to the next step. But yeah, before I get the panels on, I'll just show you, you can obviously, there's a couple of holes and you can see the imperfections in the panel. So I've already had these bits PDR to paint the stunt removal by a friend of mine called Adam. And what he's done is, he's basically just gone around all the sort of the little dents and everything and took them out as best as possible. This is so thin, he was struggling with this panel, but he's got the small pin dents out of this. He's done such a good job. So this is gonna be good. The reason there's two different epoxies, I'm trying a new epoxy now and it's just so good. This is especially made for like restoration work. So yeah, let's move on guys, get the panels on. All right guys, so these are non-genuine wings, but I've tried them and test fitted them before on my own previous Civics and they're really good. But yeah, all I would say is belt sand the corners off, weld them so they're nice and round like the factory ones. But let's get this test fitted. Usually I'll take the lights off first, but they're already on. So let's get it on. Yeah, check it out guys. Obviously that was just a quick mock-up, but you can see how well they line up. Basically it's got to feel nice across here. What a lot of the restoration boys do, what they do is, even though it lines up partially okay, what you can do is put a skim of filler, like a really fine white, either side of the panel, and you can block in both panels. But you can also do that with the primer as well. Basically I'll line these gaps up, check and measure it, and get it basically matching all the way around. All right, so a good little tip guys, when you're building cars, so what you want to do is you want to start from the quarter panels forward. So I've put the doors on, and then I've measured the gap all the way around off another Civic I got. I just measured the gap, it's about a 4mm gap with my little ruler, and then I put the wings on and measured the wing gap between the doors. So then just work your way forward. So it's just a good little tip, because otherwise if you start from the wings and work your way back, your gaps are going to be all different. So you want to keep a consistent gap all the way through. All right guys, so on to the next bit. Basically I've always wanted to fit one of these. It's an Airwalker bumper, and it's in ABS as well. If it was fiberglass, I wouldn't even touch it anymore. I hate fiberglass. And yeah, if you do bodywork, you know what I mean. But it's okay, sometimes you gotta use what you got. But yeah, these bumpers are pretty sick, obviously flexible as well. But I've got this little kit as well, which my customer got for me. It's basically to bolt on these Honda Civics, the bumpers droop either side of the wings and the back bumper over time. So what it is, these brackets screw to the bumper and the back panel, and then it basically sandwiches them together so it stops that droop. So that's going to be a nice little touch as well. But just get the bumper on and then we can check everything and see what it looks like. All right, man, so we're gonna get some clips in the bumper. So what I've noticed already is the bumper brackets were sitting too high and I put in a high spot on the plastic bumper. So what I've done is put the brackets right down, and I've bent the tags as well, which clip into the old bumper, the original one, because you won't need to use them anymore. So pop them in, and it's not sitting too bad. I'm hoping it's not bowed out too much, because when it turned up, it squashed. So all right, so I'm just bolting it up, guys. The thing is, I hate using non-genuine panels, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do, because you can't. These obviously Airwalker bumpers aren't going to be a genuine Honda bumper, but they've been tried and tested. But I'm very fussy, so I'll make the judgment on that, because already the gap of the wing line and the bumper line's not looking perfect. But what I'll do is I'll push this back. The bumper's quite bowed out, so overnight what I'll do is I'll put something against the wall, like a pry stick or something, and leave it overnight just so it can push that in and heat it up as well, just to make sure it stays in, because otherwise at the moment it comes round and then jumps back out, which looks a bit weird, but we'll make it work. Obviously these wheels are going as well, so they're only 15s, but it's going up to 16s with a chunkier tire, so it's going to fit well. All right, let's get the bonnet shut. Check this out. Damn. Yeah, it looks pretty sick, guys. What do you reckon? Drop in the comments, guys, what you think about this. It does look good. It's something I've always wanted to do. It does sit a little bit lower than the rest of the car, but to be fair, for a non-genuine bumper, it lines up pretty well, and the wings. Yeah, if you check it out, guys, so if you look at the wing gaps, so this is a non-genuine wing and non-genuine bonnet. Everything else is rotten. We tried to find some other parts, but they're just all rusty again. So start fresh. I'll make these wings line up nice and best as possible. I've measured the gap, so we've got a 4mm gap with the wing, and we've got a 4mm gap with the bonnet as well, just about. I've noticed they always go tighter on these wings. On what it is a lot of people push, when they shut the bonnet, they lean down on the wing, and it kinks them down. So when you go to a show and you see a Honda Civic, you see a lot of these touching the wing, because obviously that corner piece kinks in, but this has come out lovely. I've noticed on both sides, the headlights stick out a little bit. There's not much you're gonna be able to do with that because the bumper's pushed back as tight as possible around here as well to get the gap for the wing and the bumper edge. So obviously with those little tags as well, I'll be able to squeeze the bumper in. That's the drop as well, like you can see it on this one already. There's a big gap there and it's tight here. It's because it's just bolted here together, but not at the front. So those brackets basically eliminate that. So that looks good. And this side, if you notice, if you can see it, it's a little bit tighter here than it is up here. So I need to adjust the middle bolt here, but this as well, it's lining up really nice with the wing edge and the headlight. All right, so I don't know what a lot of you are gonna think about this one, but what do you reckon about the spoilers? Or the wings if you're in America? Do you know what, I don't mind this one. I wasn't really liking the back on things. It's like a Wings West thing like from back in the day, but to be fair, it's going to be a bit different. It's going to look good with the color contrast and everything. It's going to look awesome. I think we're going to go gloss black in the center with the color on the outside. So, all right, let's get the bumper on. All right, the only issue we got, guys, with this build is someone's welded a back panel on this car before. So it's had a lot of work done, but we're going to try and save it. But I'm going to have to do a lot of alignment with the rear panel and try and do a bit of adjustment. But we'll start from the side, driver's side first, and then I'll work my way around. Overall, guys, it's looking pretty cool. With bodywork, the biggest issue is obviously alignment and making sure the gaps look good. Because you can do a nice finish on it, but if you're a proper body guy, you look directly to the gaps and the edges. Because you could have a fantastic paint job, but if all the gaps are like really tight this side and wide this side, that's what you pick fault in straight away. And obviously the alignment of the boot doesn't look too bad on camera, but sticking out a little bit here, catching on something behind the bumper here. Obviously where the previous garage had loads of bad work on it, it's kind of fighting against it, so we'll get there in the end. All right, so on to the next stage before my filler work. I'm gonna be using this tool. It's basically just a dent puller. What you do is you can basically, I've got my earth strap on that at the moment. You put that on the end and then you tack it. So instead of using a slide hammer, what happens is with a slide hammer, you can pull it, but the problem is you're just doing different like points of pressure, and you could be, well, pulling pressure sort of thing, and you'll put high spots everywhere, and the things then you got to file it, sand it. I don't want to make the panels even thinner. So with this, you can just pull it a little bit to where you want it, and then it's like spot on. So filler works fine. I just want to put as least filler in it as possible. So before that stage, I'm going to pull everything out and make it as level as possible, and then I can move on to the filler stage. So basically what will happen is this will tack to the panel, and then when you pull it, I can pull it back and forwards, just like that. And then there's a lot of adjustment on it as well, so you can actually adjust it so the handle doesn't go back too far. All right, so I've got the wheels. These are rotor slipstreams. It's like the classic wheel people put on the EK Civics. I've got them on mine as well. So we got the ET sort of perfect. I can't remember the ET and everything, but I'll find out and I'll put it in the description. But if you check this out, it fits perfect, but obviously if you don't roll the arches, it's gonna rub the arches and obviously shred the tire. All right, so what I'll do, guys, now is I'll compress it and you'll see where it's gonna sit. It actually sits inside the arch, but because the arch lip sits out. So when you're building the car as well, make sure you get your wheels and tires perfect first, because otherwise you'll build the car, then you'll get your favorite set of wheels and they're gonna rub the arches, ruin the tires, and ruin the car. So build the car around the wheels as well. It's a good little tip. All right, so it's now sat on the tires, sits perfect to the body line. But I love my wheels sitting tight to the body, and what I'm gonna do is roll the arches, roll them, and then you have a nice, perfect soft edge all the way around. Thanks for watching the video, guys. So in the next video, I'm going to be revealing the colour, and it'll be painted. It's going to Ferrari colour. So just drop your guesses in the comments below. And if you've got any questions, just ask me and I'll reply to as many as I can. All right. Cheers, guys. Catch you in the next one.